Okay, so welcome to Intro to Becoming a Virtual Professional Part 1. So this is the basics, something like an overview. My name is Jason Derrick. I am the founder of Sterling Language and Virtual Solutions back in 2019. So unfortunately, due to the pandemic, we won't be able to celebrate the first year anniversary. Anyway, I've been an ESL teacher since 1997. ESL stands for English as a Second Language. So I provided language tutorial services to Koreans, Chinese, Japanese, and a few other nationalities. I was a Pioneer Customer Service Associate for Dell back in 2001. So yep, I was one of the first few call center agents way back then when it still was unknown or unpopular. Yeah, I've been a virtual professional since 2005. Again, way back when there was still no Facebook, we only had Friendster back then for an e-learning company. So, and my other baby, other than Sterling, was Travel North Philippines. I've been a virtual assistant, an animator, and a web designer. So those were my past jobs. Right now, currently, I am a copywriter and editor and proofreader. I'm also a project manager for a couple of clients. Yes, I like to call myself a social media guru. Yeah, as an and a motivational speaker, and my favorite content creator. Okay, so I hope this one becomes the most successful one. All right, so moving on. Let me just flex a couple of messages that I've gotten. Here are some of my favorites. A screenshot of my accounts. The nice thing about employers from the or clients from the West is that they don't really hold back when they give compliments. So okay, well, enough about me. Um, Here we go. What is a virtual professional? Also known as a freelancer or an online freelancer nowadays, a home-based professional or an online professional. So what does a freelancer do? It's not really all that different from a regular face-to-face job. It's just that rather than being employed by a company in one specific job, you as a freelancer are self-employed and you find work yourself via a variety of sources. So these are your freelancer platforms like Upwork, Fiverr, Online Jobs, PH, and many others. And so basically clients will hire a freelancer like you to complete a task, a specific task that would last a day or two, a project that could last months or even a year, or provide several services or just one. So this is like the dream situation for most freelancers is that doing your job while having a wonderful view of the beach. So sometimes it happened. I've done that before, um, doing my job when I was in Sagada or in Ilocos in Pagudpud. So yep, it could happen. It could happen to all of us. Okay, so there are two main types of virtual professionals, and I've divided them into two, the voice and the non-voice. Basically, because you always need to communicate with your clients. So the most common is the voice type of a virtual professional. So this kind of professional is required to communicate over the phone, via Skype or Zoom, or other voice call apps like Kakao or some other type like WhatsApp. Okay, so fluent English communication is almost always required, which is understandable because, of course, if there is a lack in proper communication, then there could be a massive breakdown in operations, which could get costly. So it's understandable that they would require fluent or a high level of English communication, which is one of the reasons why I founded Sterling in the first place, is that to promote a certain level of proficiency and competency in English communication, not just to sound impressive, but to actually get better jobs. So here are the examples. The examples are tech support, of course, customer service or customer support, project management, because you always, yeah, when you're a project manager, so you're always in meetings. Virtual assistants, of course, online marketing, and lately we are seeing a boom in this industry now is online teaching. It's been here around for a while, but I mean, especially now, noticeably um, in these times of the pandemic, that a lot of learning has switched to a virtual environment, then online teaching has become very viable and gotten more common nowadays. It's not just Filipinos teaching people from other countries, but now it's also Filipinos teaching other Filipinos. So, all right. The of course on the opposite side is the non-voice. Um, well, there are more jobs here, but um, this kind of a professional here is, as you can see, it's not required to communicate over the phone. Okay. Um, Sometimes the client is happy enough to just have you communicate with them on chat or through email. So these jobs include data entry, transcription, of course, subtitling, graphic design and editing. Of course, I mean, you don't really talk much. I mean, you speak to the client with your talent in graphic design, video production. I've noticed though that in video production, sometimes when the designs or the specification of the client uh, isn't clear, then a call or two would sometimes be necessary. SEO stands for search engine optimization. So it's not verbal, but it still requires you to have a good command of English language, in the sense that you should know the right kinds of words for Google to detect, basically. Web design and programming, and admin support. Admin support, basically, sometimes you just make appointments and other clean up after other parts or other members of the team. Okay. What are the advantages of being a virtual professional? Well, the advantages are obvious, basically. It's that, but let me just enumerate them. First of all, you control your workload, and that's one of the best parts of being a freelancer, is that what we say here is that you own your own time, or you own your time. You can say when enough is enough. You can take breaks whenever you want. But when you have a deadline, you still have to follow that timetable, but then you still get to take a break when you want, not whenever. Okay. Well, you're less likely to get sick because when you stay at home, well, nowadays with the pandemic, right, you don't get to, you're not exposed to certain virus or bacteria or diseases that you don't want. You get as many breaks and as much sleep as you want. Well, this depends on what kind of work you do, but still, this is true. You control your work relationships. Yeah, for there are some people really that, um, especially the introverts, that it's a burden for them to have relationships, to communicate, to have to communicate with people, and having to adjust to too many different kinds of personalities. Yep, I guess I can relate to that. That's why I've flourished as a virtual professional. You can exercise at optimum times. Yeah, as a person who likes to exercise and into fitness, that if I'm a morning person and my body responds best to exercise in the morning, then I can adjust that and just not accept any jobs that require morning login. So yeah, so this is still true. Freedom to choose clients and projects. Yes. Well, as a beginner, you might not have that luxury yet, but as time passes and you become better and you gain a reputation for being a good freelancer, that it's the clients who will come to you for jobs and projects, then in that case, you are your own boss. Now, immense flexibility of location. This is one of my other favorites. As we've shown in the picture, is that you can be an actual effective freelancer no matter where you are, as long as there is an acceptable internet speed or bandwidth, and you avoid the long commute, you know. And when you avoid the long commute, you're actually given the gift of time, because instead of wasting like an hour or two on the road, you can spend it sleeping or getting ready or spending some time with your family, or actually those are extra working hours, so that means extra money, which is an opportunity to earn more. So there. Well, basically, you decide how much you want to earn. Okay. But of course, if there are advantages, then there are disadvantages. So here, the biggest disadvantage is that the the workload is not steady or reliable. It means, well, you're lucky if you get a long-term client. Let's say the client stays with you or you stay with the client for 2 years. So that's like a jackpot, especially if the pay and the times are optimal to your advantage, then wow. Now, distinguishing between work and personal time is also one of the struggles and challenges, especially for the new freelancers, um, especially those who just got their first jobs online during this pandemic, that we've gotten used to socializing with people. In the workplace, work is work, and then you don't bring work here at home. And then when you're at home, you don't get to think about work. But when you're a freelancer, then that line is blurred or sometimes no longer existent, because sometimes, especially for parents who are working at home, now they're doing that home while feeding the baby. So, well, that's also a reality. A lot of legwork. That means that you will have to hustle, and yeah, you have to really work hard to get clients, because now that the marketplace and the availability of other online freelancers is getting bigger because of the pandemic, a lot of people are losing jobs still continually, even today, then you're going to have to really, really hustle and then improve your resume and your profile and really watch out and choose the right clients, because of the fourth disadvantage, which is the risk of getting scammed or not getting paid. So, of course, a lot of people are going to take advantage of this pandemic, knowing that there are a lot of desperate people out there for a job that they would easily, without thinking twice about taking like a quote and unquote a sample job or a test job, when in reality they're doing that to like 15 to 20 other freelance applicants, and in the end they don't, they end up not paying anybody and still getting jobs done. So that's the risk. At some point in this series of webinars and presentations, we're going to discuss about how to avoid not getting scammed. And no employee benefits. This is not always true. Some companies now provide employee benefits, but in general, most companies do not, because you're not, as a freelancer, the name itself, you're a freelancer, you're not employed by the company, but you're an independent contractor. So you are not entitled to any company benefits. But then, um, here, this is something to feel good about. And this is true. I've asked a lot of clients and employers about this, that they do love and prefer Filipino freelancers over other certain nationalities. And the number one reason is that Filipinos are proficient in written. Okay, sorry about that. There's two N's in there. See, it's instant. That's not a language error. That's just a typo. So yeah, Filipinos are proficient in written and conversational English, and making communication with clients much easier. And it's not just about communication, but the fact that Filipinos have uh, sufficient or adequate exposure to Western culture makes it easier to actually relate to clients or relate with each other. So you will notice when you get your first job that business meetings are not all business. Like a certain percentage of that is about a little bit of socialization, telling jokes and stories before getting into the meat of the matter, which is the business meeting. Okay. And the very next one, this I asked personally. It's a research result, but I've asked quite a few clients that on why they would prefer Filipino freelancers, is that is because Filipinos are loyal. They are not hard-headed. Well, mostly, mostly. I mean, I've worked with Filipinos who have already have some attitude problems, but in general, Filipinos are amicable long term. Partners. Filipinos are known to be loyal to the clients, not litigious. It's like, yeah, no matter how stressful the job gets, Filipinos are not known to be revengeful and do something damaging to the company, right? So in general, I'm saying in general, and um, Victor actually said this, that Filipinos tend to be appreciative of the job that they have. So that I'll never forget. That Filipinos do tend to appreciate the job that they have. They learn to value it, and therefore they're more productive, and the output shows um, how much Filipinos care about their jobs. Okay. Of course, Filipinos are mostly educated. Most freelancers are degree holders, not necessarily a degree closely related to the job that they're applying for, but it means that they have a certain uh, a good background in education. This makes Filipinos a cut above the rest for the job. Okay, self-motivated. This also probably stems from when most Filipinos are used to hard work. So, and it's frowned upon, right? Even in our families, if we just stay in some place in the house and not helping, right? We tend to just look for something to do. That's why Filipinos are known to be proactive and motivated to do what needs to be done to the best of their abilities. So, positive outlook of Filipinos is impeccable, and it's gaining a reputation because, for example, we are always hit by typhoons and floods and other disasters. But whatever the situation is, it pushes Filipinos to rise to the challenge and rise to the occasion. And just like in my case, there was a massive brownout in my area that I had to unplug my entire desktop, not a laptop, my entire desktop, move to another town in an internet cafe and continue my work there. So yeah, that Australian client was pretty impressed. And lastly, goal oriented. Filipinos are goal oriented professionals, hardworking and dedicated to producing quality output, as well as committed to customer satisfaction. This is because many of us are the breadwinners of the family, or that we have, oh yeah, family members to support. We want to help our family so much, right? And then we have dreams to build a house, to travel, that it shows in our output, in our jobs, that we are goal-oriented people. Okay, yeah, here's a little overview of some basic equipment and tools. Now there are lots and lots and lots and lots of tools that change almost every month, that there's some new app or software that's being preferred by clients. But here are some that tend to remain the favorites. Of course, Dropbox, the file hosting service that you can use remotely. Sometimes, oh no, you can use it with a browser, or you can sync it to your computer. Google Apps, of course. Now the G Suite is very, very sweet. Um, it's a set of cloud computing, productivity, and collaboration tools and software, from Google Gmail to Google Calendar, Google Docs. Gosh, I don't know what I'm gonna do without Google Docs. It's because you can work from now. You don't need the USB, right? As long as you have a good internet connection. Because with Google Docs, you can work on one computer and you can share it to other people who can just view it straight away, and then you can go home, or you can move to another room with another computer, and you can work on the exact same document. So that's yep, Google Apps. G Drive. G Drive is not going anywhere anytime soon. Okay. Now you got Google Videos and Google Cloud Connect and so many other new Google products rolling out. I'm not gonna say every day, but every season or every now and then. Okay, Skype. Skype is here to stay. Like even with Zoom and WhatsApp, and the Koreans prefer Kakao Talk, but Skype is will be the preferred communication app for many years to come, especially for the voice calls, because you can download it to your mobile and function as a phone. And even for some companies, they use Skype so that you, as a freelancer located in the Philippines, can dial a number, say in Australia or in the US, and the caller ID would show a US number. and that would make your job easier. So that's what Skype is. And now Trello. Trello is your project management app that would help you manage your tasks, jobs, and organize them in a very, very organized and effective manner. So in all of these applications and tools, I will be making a tutorial on each one of them. So don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, sign up and subscribe to our website. The links will be provided at the end of this presentation. Okay, Canva. Canva is like your online Photoshop. Okay, and it's a simplified graphic design tool website. It uses drag and drop format, and you have access to photographs and images and graphics and fonts. So there's a free version of that for you to practice. And if your client prefers Canva, then they will have to provide you with a paid one. So yes, for those who are intimidated with Photoshop, which by the way, I'm also creating a tutorial, basic tutorial for Photoshop, but Canva is much easier to use. There's still some limitations, but Canva is like uh, Canva is like your mobile phone camera, still beautiful, while Photoshop would be your DSLR with a lot of other heavyweight functions. But both can produce similarly impressive pictures and graphics. Okay, we have Grammarly. Okay, nowadays it's really, really important to use Grammarly. Not because we have problems with grammar, but over the years, right? Especially in this generation of texting and using a mobile phone, that we have evolved into people who disregard punctuation and spelling and grammar. So Grammarly is here to help with that, because even though this generation, like I said, is like that when it comes to writing, business wise, it is still a no to make significant grammar mistakes. So Grammarly would be your best friend in that. Hootsuite is referred to as your social media management system tool. It's like like a terminal for all your social media accounts. Like if you have Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and YouTube and the others, right? You can just put them there in one project, so that you will have to post that content just once, and then it would automatically just distribute and post them all at the same time into all your social media accounts. So that's pretty sick. I mean, when I say sick, it means pretty awesome. And it can also enable you to monitor people's engagement and interaction with your social media in one page. So again, I'll be creating a tutorial for Hootsuite. Lastly is Evernote. This is one of my favorite apps because of its ease of usage for note taking, organizing, task management, and archiving. Google Drive is also good, the Google Calendar, but Evernote, in my opinion, is much easier, and basically it comforts the wavelength of my brain when I'm thinking. I guess that's what I've gotten used to. That when I open Evernote, the ideas start flowing. All right. Let me show you the average salaries of a virtual assistant. As a virtual assistant, the average salary is here, 21,587. So more or less about 500, $450 a month. Okay, that's on a 8 hour or 40 hour a week basis. Okay, so of course the lowest that depends on if people accept the job is 5,000, but looks like the hot shot they get 49,000. Wow, that's almost $1,000. So or exactly $1,000. So that's pretty cool. Okay, and here are the popular skills of a virtual assistant. So you might want to take a screenshot of this or note these down. Data entry, online research, the ability to research online. Okay, so the ability to sift through hundreds of dozens or hundreds of pages on Google search, right? To effectively get or to effectively and intelligently pick out the accurate information. Because as you know, hashtag fake news, right? And hashtag fake information. So you have to just sift through that. Okay. Microsoft Office, of course, even with the existence of G Drive and Google applications, Microsoft Office is still preferred. Social media marketing, again, using Facebook and other kinds of social media for marketing. Office administration, of course. And here are some runners up: the graphic design, customer service, WordPress, okay, transcription, and project management. And so that is it for this presentation, Intro to Virtual Professional Part 1. For Part 2, we'll discuss the tools in detail, and not just the apps and the software, but we're also going to talk about your internet connection, the hardware, the kind of computer that you should get. Okay, and then getting the job is creating an impressive resume and creating a kick-ass profile. Part 4 is attitude. What kind of attitude? Like, how should you approach your negotiation skills? Sorry, how should you approach your negotiations, and how to communicate properly and impressively with a potential client or employer. And in Part 5, I'll be giving a short advanced Upwork tutorial on how to have a kick-ass, a cut above the rest Upwork profile. Okay, we are everywhere on social media, so please follow me, follow Sterling on Facebook. The links are there. The social media handles at Sterling Language. So the letter I is the number 1. Okay, same with Instagram. On YouTube, I'm still building a following here in YouTube, so there's still no personalized link, but the fact that you're watching it here, right? So you just follow the link somewhere. And of course, TikTok. I'm very, very active on TikTok because with TikTok, you can create content in less than an hour. So, and plus, I have many followers there. So, all right. I hope you learned something with this presentation. And it depends if we are going to make the Part 4 or Part 5 a live webinar on Zoom. So yeah, please follow, subscribe, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok to stay updated. We have a lot more other content that we'll be generating. Okay, and also don't forget sterlinglanguageph.com. That's our official website. Okay, well, thank you very much for staying with me, and stay safe, and hope you get the job.